A mother wrote to me and said, quote, "My 9-year-old daughter, Eliza, came home and said, 'I'm in love with Brent,' who is a boy at school. I had no idea what to say to that." Every day, all over the world, parents hear statements like this from children ages 9 through 49. Almost immediately, parents reveal that they have no idea how to respond. Little wonder, since parents have been around long enough to know about the innumerable disappointments and even catastrophes that follow these simple words, in love. Almost every divorce or disastrous relationship begins with a fervent, sincere, and often heart-pounding phenomenon known as falling in love. But then comes real life, which, with its whirlwind of activities, pressures, and distractions, reveals whether we know what love even means. Cinderella falls in love with the prince, but then they begin to argue over whatever, repairs on the castle roof, new shoes for the horses, taking the kids to school, the usual stuff. Then they get divorced and their kids become entitled and spend their lives watching YouTube and posting pictures on Instagram and Facebook. Not a fairy tale ending. Our children see falling in love on screen in some form nearly every day, and their friends talk about it, and Facebook and other media depict it everywhere. It is like the holy grail of emotional experiences. It's the thing that movies are about most, books are about most. So we must be prepared to talk about this subject and not just blow it off and hope it goes away. With sufficient life of experience, most of us learn that falling in love is very much like being drunk and insane at the same time. Not exaggerating or trying to be funny. It's very similar. We've also learned that talking to a drunk or a lunatic is singularly unproductive. So we are dumbfounded when "I'm in love" is spoken by the lips of our own children. And our confusion, along with their delirium, differs only in degree and complexity whether the child is 9 or 49, because our 49-year-old children come to us and say that they're in love too. This is a pretty tough position for parents, yeah? Very few parents understand or have ever felt unconditional love. But now they're faced with a child who's drunk on the kind of imitation love that is earned and traded throughout the world every day. The kind of supposed love that does not end well. In short, parents are spectacularly unprepared for a conversation with a child who is utterly convinced of the reality of this love they describe. They're sitting at the wheel of a car they can't wait to accelerate to breathtaking speed while they're falling down drunk. That's a tough place for both parent and child. We parents need help. Well, there is help. Remember, it's all about loving and teaching, not controlling or arguing or enabling or sympathizing or encouraging or discouraging. None of that stuff, which is all the stuff we do. Just loving and teaching. So what's the first step in loving? You're going to see how this just integrates so beautifully. None of this is new, but it's applied in a new circumstance in a way that you can see that it's all of one piece. The first step in loving is listening. So back to Eliza, who is certain at 9 that she's in love with Brent, the magic prince. The certitude of a 9-year-old can be unnerving. So I'm going to help you take mom's place, just to make it more personal. And you're going to talk to Eliza, and you're going to say something like this. Or you might say something like this. "Oh, no, honey, you're not really in love." Now, well, that's true. Eliza will immediately disconnect from you, and you're done as a parent, at least in that moment. Your child has divorced you. because you've just denied that they're in love, which they're absolutely certain of. Or you might say, oh, that's just really sweet, honey. I'm happy for you. Sounds like it's the opposite of the other one, and it kind of is. But the opposite of bad doesn't mean good. The opposite of bad can just be dumber. Now you're enabling your child in a lie. Oh, that's so sweet. No, actually, it's a deception. And again, you're done as a parent because you're trying to love without teaching. You're comforting and winning approval and not really loving. It doesn't work. So what can you say? Back to loving and teaching. You can listen, which is loving, and teach her what she desperately needs to know about love and couldn't possibly understand at her age. 49-year-olds don't understand this. Teach her what parents do not teach their children because they don't know how. You might say something like this. Well, you sound excited. You're not lying. You're listening to her feelings, and immediately you'll have her full attention. But you also haven't discouraged or enabled her. You're just reflecting what you're seeing. You're actually listening. Well, you sound excited. It's clean and intimate listening. Now, at this point, it's likely that she'll gush a bit because she says she's in love, and you've said, oh, well, essentially, instead of you sound excited, you could say, tell me more. There's lots of things you could say. And she'll gush. And then you can start the teaching. You'll say something like, tell me what you like about Brent. She's not going to have any difficulty answering this because she's in love with him. So you've just facilitated a real conversation where you can listen and possibly teach. She might say, for example, oh, he's so cute. And then you might say, I'll bet he is cute. And it's fun just to look at him, isn't it? You're listening. And she nods her head vigorously. And you say, well, what else do you like about him? Oh, he's so funny. And you say, well, tell me something he says that's funny. She'll be only too happy to do that. And you might acknowledge that he's clever and witty. You're still just listening. And then you say, well, what else about him? He talks to me. There's the big one. You lift your brows and you smile brightly and say, it is so fun when somebody likes you, isn't it? And she giggles and says, yeah. And you say, I'm going to teach you something about love. Now notice, my tone of voice didn't change from saying, what else do you like about him? He sounds pretty witty. You say, I'm going to teach you something about love. Well, duh, just like saying to a kid who's going to drive a car, I'm going to teach you how to drive a car. Of course you are. And then you say, it'll be fun. And it will make you so smart. What kid's going to resent that? You continue. Do you know whether Brent, the one she's in love with, is nice to his sister? Is he sweet to his sister? I can promise you, Eliza's going to say something like, well, and then you say, you've probably never seen him with his sister, right? She shakes her head, no. You continue. Do you know whether he listens to his mother? Does he eagerly do what she tells him to do? And then Eliza gets this grimace on her face because she doesn't know the answer for sure, but she has heard him talk about his mother in a disrespectful way. You say, do you know if he's mean to his brother? More head shaking. She doesn't know for sure, but she has heard him make fun of his younger brother. And then you say, so there's quite a bit. Notice my tone. You're not grilling her. So there's quite a bit that you don't know about him, right? She kind of shrugs at this point because she's in love and you're being just a little bit of a buzzkill, and kids don't like admitting stuff that could lead them into a trap, and she is smelling a trap from you, which is, well, true. And you say, do I know all those things about you? Do I know about how you treat your brother, your sister, and me? Now, why this question? Well, a bunch of reasons, but one is that she knows the answer. And she's going to say, Yeah, she's still waiting for you to trap her. You say, do I know about almost all of your mistakes? Do I know when you're kind and unkind, when you're helpful and when you're selfish? Do I know a lot about you? You make it so that there's only one answer to this question. And she nods her head. You're still teaching and loving and listening. Then you say, so when I say that I love you, I can really mean it, can't I? I can say that I know you from head to toe and I care about your happiness because I know you. And that is what real love is. Unconditional love, genuine love, caring about the happiness of another person, not just liking how they make you feel. Ooh, you just taught her something very important in response to her being in love. You continue and say, I like how ice cream feels, but I don't love it. Even though people use that word all the time, I love ice cream. No, I like ice cream. I love you. In fact, I love all of you and I teach you because I care about your happiness. I do love you. Yes? No. In a way, it's a little bit leading her down the path, but it's a good path. She can't help but nod. You're being loving to her in this moment because your tone of voice is loving. Then you say, so can you say all that I just said about Brent? Can you say that you know everything good about him and all of his selfish stuff and everything else, and you care mostly about his happiness? Now, at this point, Eliza is going to frown. 100% guaranteed going to go, because she's never thought about all this, especially if you've never taught it to her. She's never thought about it in terms of falling in love. So you continue with a tone that must be gentle and loving, not lecturing or correcting. You say, so it would be true for me to say that I love you, which means I care about your happiness no matter what. But you really, really like some things about Brent. That's true. You like it that he's cute. You like it that he's funny. You especially like it that he likes you. That's all very fun. See, this is real listening because it is fun for her. You're not trying to kill her fun. And it's called liking him or liking things about him. Liking is different from loving. Loving means you really know somebody and care about them. Liking means you enjoy how they make you feel. You really, really like how Brent makes you feel, and that's okay. See how as a parent you're going, I'm not criticizing you. It's okay that you like him. You just didn't know that it's called liking him, not being in love with him, even though that's what your friends say. Before you can be really in love with somebody, you have to get to know them really well and really love them unconditionally first. Care about them like I did with your father. Someday you'll get to know somebody really well. You'll learn to love them and you might fall in love. Right now, you need to practice learning to love first, the real thing. Loving, not falling in love. For example, you could learn to love your brother better. Yeah, I know, doesn't seem related, does it? But it is. Love your sister. Learn to love people who aren't being especially nice to you. Loving all those people will give you practice loving so you'll be ready to fall in love someday. Really, that's how it works. And I'm teaching you a secret that almost no adults know. After that conversation, I was quoting you, now I'm back to being myself. After that conversation, you'll have many, many opportunities to explain liking and loving. You'll be able to point out the difference in movies, in conversations. You'll be able to teach them a lot about this. To point out to your child, in fact, times when they're feeling loved by you and when they're being loving toward somebody else, like a sibling, and when they're being responsible. You're going to be teaching them loved, loving, and responsible. Surprise. You'll point out when they're feeling truly happy, and you'll explain how those moments prepare them for being in love with a partner in the future. It'll come. These are very important and big teaching opportunities. The conversation you just had with Eliza isn't much different from how you would talk to your 12-year-old or 16-year-old. I can tell you that the earlier you have these conversations, the easier they are to have. If you try to have this conversation with your 30-year-old child after 2 failed marriages, you're not likely to succeed. Teach your kids right now what real love is. Show them. Teach them what conditional love is, what falling in love is, what it means to be entertained by external appearances, humor, fun, and excitement, and teach them how those things can completely distract us from the possibility of genuine happiness. We must prepare them, or they will be deceived by the world's definition of love. They'll get lost, and that is no fun. If we truly love our children, we can't allow them to be deceived and distracted. I trust that you won't. Teach them what is really happening in relationships, which nobody does. This loving and teaching is a great challenge, but it's great fun. And it happens to be life-saving. Enjoy the power of loving and teaching.